Time for convening having arrived, the Senate will come to order. Would ask unauthorized visitors to exit the chamber at this time, and the Senate will come to order. I now recognize the distinguished senator from the 53rd.
Mr. President, good morning. It's a beautiful day at our state capitol, and I've got a question, though. The senator from the 50th keeps putting food products on our desk, and I'm afraid he's trying to fatten up us physically fit people here at the chamber. But we're glad to have barbecue sauce on our desk today.
No one represents the physically fit community better than you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, by the way, the journal's been read and found to be correct, and thank you for this day.
Okay. Well, that's a good thing. Wonderful. All right. Well, this is the posture by which we're in. The senator has stated that the journal has been read and found to be correct, but the first order of business is the reconsideration that we took up yesterday. And the chair recognized Senator from the 41st.
I move for the reconsideration bill, Senate Bill 95, and would like to speak on the issue.
Senator served notice yesterday, and he is now moving for reconsideration. He is recognized at this time to speak to the motion of reconsideration of Senate Bill 95.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the Senate. I ask for your consideration today to reconsider Senate Bill 95. The bill passed with the minimum amount needed to pass, and several members said that they would reconsider their vote. So I ask you to give us an opportunity, those that would like to change their vote, or those that were not in the room, express their interest on this bill. It's merely a consideration. You'll have a chance to act on the actual measure once again if we pass this motion. So I ask for your consideration and your support today. Thank you very much.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 40th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I asked you all to vote no, and I will speak further on this topic under points of personal privilege. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. Read the caption.
Senate Bill 95 of Representative Millar of the 40th and others. A bill to be entitled Act of Article 2 of Chapter 5 of Title 36 of the OCGA relating to county governing authorities and Code Section 21.2.139 of the OCGA relating to authorization for conduct of nonpartisan elections so as to provide that in counties that utilize the Chief Executive Officer, County Commissioner, form of government, all elections for the Chief Executive Officer shall be conducted on a nonpartisan basis and for their purposes. The Senate Committee on Ethics recommends this bill do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Jeffries of the 17th District Chairman. That completes the order, Mr. President.
The motion is for reconsideration. All of those in favor of the motion will vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary will unlock the machine. Majority of the quorum present. On the motion, the yeas are 17, the nays are 35, and the motion for reconsideration has lost. Is there objection to dispensing with the reading of the journal? The reading of the journal is dispensed with. Is there objection to the confirmation of the journal? Chair is none, and the journal is confirmed. All senators having bills and resolutions to introduce, please bring them to the Secretary's desk at this time. First reading in reference of Senate bills and resolutions.
Senate Bill 391 by Senator Balfour the Ninth and others. A bill to entitle an act of an article.
Health and Human Services.
Senate Resolution 966 by Senator Mullis of the 53rd and others. A resolution honoring the life of Captain Larry S. Simmons and dedicating it into
Transportation.
Senate Resolution 973 by Senators Taney the 38th and others. A resolution creating the Senate
Health and Human Services.
That completes the order, Mr. President.
First reading in reference of House bills and resolutions.
House Bill 875 by Representative Jasper of the 11th and others. A bill to be entitled an act amend Code Section 83202 of Article 2 of Chapter
Duty non-civil.
That completes the order, Mr. President.
Secretary will read reports of standing committees.
Mr. President, the Senate State and Local Governmental Operations Committee has had in consideration the following legislation and instructing me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation. That House Bill 752 do pass, that House Bill 901 do pass, respectfully submitted Senator Ligon of the 3rd District Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Natural Resources and the Environment has had in consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation. The Senate Bill 93 do pass, that Senate Bill 361 do pass, respectfully submitted Senator Tolleson, the 20th District Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Banking and Financial Institutions Committee has had in consideration the following legislation and instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation. That House Bill 809 do pass by substitute, respectfully submitted Senator Crosby of the 13th District Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Education and Youth has had in consideration the following legislation and instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation. The Senate Bill 343 do pass by substitute. The Senate Resolution 875 do pass. That Senate Bill 372 do pass. That Senate Bill 356 do pass. Respectfully submitted Senator Tippins of the 37th District Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Retirement has had in consideration the following legislation and instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation. The Senate Bill 235 do pass by substitute. The Senate Bill 339 do pass. Respectfully submitted Senator Burke of the 11th District Chairman. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Clerk will read second readers.
Senate Bill 341 by Senator Stone of the 23rd and others. Probate courts clerk's authority to act on uncontested matters, repeal of population provision. That completes the order, Mr. President.
It is now time for the morning roll call. Time for the morning roll call. Are there any motions to excuse? Any motions to excuse? I see no motion. Chair recognizes very lovely senator from Albany, senator from the 12th.
Thank you. Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 5th.
Senator from the 5th, without objection, the senator from the 5th will be excused. Are there any other motions to excuse? Senators, please signify your presence by voting the yea switch. Secretary will unlock the machine. Chair recognizes Senator from the 20th to recognize a very special guest we have in the gala.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to recognize the Houston County Bar Association, a great group of people that work hard every day and represent Houston County very well, and they do a very fine job, and I would like for them to stand at this time. They also brought a lot of their children with them today that were out of school, so they're getting a little government lesson in today, too. We appreciate y'all bringing them. Good to see y'all.
All right. Thank you, Senator. And now it's time for our morning devotion. It's time for our morning devotion. Would I ask the senators, please take your seats. Cease conversation as we prepare the chamber for our morning devotion. It is now my distinct honor to recognize the senator from the 7th to lead us in our pledge and introduce our chaplain of the day. Senator.
Join me in a pledge to the American flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And to the Georgia flag. I
pledge allegiance to the Georgia flag and to the principles for which it stands, wisdom, justice, and moderation.
Well, good morning. It is an honor and a privilege this morning to host the Pastor of the Day and to introduce our Pastor of the Day to bring the devotion. Pastor Gregory Pope grew up in Douglas, Georgia. That is where he met his wife of 43 years, who is with us this morning, Jackie. And he graduated from South Georgia College, which is now South Georgia State College, located in Douglas, Georgia. But he is continuing his education as we speak at Oral Roberts University in the master's program. And I somewhat am actually kind of have a little anxiety toward that, because I wish I was still in college at some times. But Brother Pope has a great love for our state. He has a great love for our country, and that is evident in the fact that he served in our Georgia National Guard from 1970 to 1976. He loves his community. He loves his church. He loves our state. He loves his family. He has 2 kids and has 2 grandkids each. And I think he's actually on his way north to go see 2 of those grandkids, hopefully. He's a proud father and a grandfather, so join me this morning in welcoming Pastor Gregory Pope, who's the pastor of Covenant Church in Douglas, Georgia, to bring our devotion.
Thank you very much, Lieutenant Governor Cagle. I'm honored to be here, sir. Senator Harper, thank you for representing us, for inviting my wife and I to this hall today, and to the distinguished senators, and also to the honored guest. Also, I'd like to recognize from Coffee Middle School in Coffee County, where I'm from, we have Mr. Horner and Miss Robinson, and they have 10 pages up here helping out today. So glad to be all up here at the same time. I just wanted to share with you as a pastor and as people in the public realm like you are, you have a lot of people give you input and advice. And I'm not here to do any advice today. I just want to talk to you a few moments about words and our words. But as a pastor, I often have people come up and tell me things, and I get in the middle of some things that I have to sort of find my way out of. And I have a dear friend who came by one day at the church, and he comes up to church and he says, I've been knowing this man since we were in the 2nd, 3rd grade in Satilla School in Coffee County. And he said, I got a problem. I said, what's your problem? He said, he's been married a while. He said, she's my problem. I said, well, what do you mean by that she's your problem? I said, have you prayed about it? Have you talked to the Lord about it? Because he came to see me as his pastor. I said, have you talked to the Lord about your problem and your situation going on? He said, now he looked at me, he said, now, you know I don't mean any disrespect. He said, but now, can you tell me, I don't believe the Lord's ever been married. So, I'm with you. So you got to watch the words. Now, this is a true story. This isn't made up. This is the area I come from. It's the people I deal with, you know. So if you have any suggestions for me today how to handle that pastorally, I'll be glad to listen to you. So, but I just want to talk to you real briefly about words, and just read to you a couple of scriptures. This is out of the Message Bible. The right word at the right time is like a custom-made piece of jewelry. And a wise friend's timely reprimand is like a gold ring slipped on your finger. Reliable friends, and that's who you have around you, reliable friends who do what they say are like cool drinks in sweltering heat. Refreshing, isn't a good word is refreshing. Somebody smile at you and give you a pat on the back, a good word, it's refreshing. Somebody say thank you, it's refreshing. So today, from our church and our county, we're here not to preach to you, but to tell you thank you for what you do. Thank you for the time away from your home. Thank you that, like this morning, I had a call that one of my mentors in life had a heart attack. I think he's fine and stable, but you headed to this place and you come up here to govern and to make decisions, and you leave in situations at home nobody knows about but you. And that's what I'm here to pray for you today about, is that kind of thing. That I know you're going to do good in government because you ran for this office, you wanted it, so you're here, you know, and we know you're going to do the right thing here. So, like billowing clouds that bring no rain is the person who talks big but never reproduces. Words are important. The thing that you'll leave in this great hall here are words, whether they're written down or whether they're spoken. It's the words that you say. One word in a law can change the whole thing. One word in things that you do can change everything. So words are the most important thing that happened. God created the earth, the world, when he spoke, let there be light. He created it. So wars are started by words. Education is distributed on words. Words control people. Words are involved in destinies, and words carry the communication of hearts. Like if I told my wife, I love you, that means something to her because she knows my words are good. It's important that our words are good. Words decree and declare law. The Bible says how forcible are right words. And a man, this is in Proverbs here, a man has joy by the answer of his mouth, and a word spoken in due season, how good it is. Now, with this, what I say, how I say it, what you say, how you say it, when I say it, you know, I can say something, it can be the right thing, but it can be the wrong time. So you got to be careful when you say it. My wife is always beautiful to me. She'll never come out in anything and say, how'd I look in this, and hear me not say anything, but you are so beautiful to me. That's all she's going to get. Because words are important. Words carry weight. Your words carry weight. And so I want mine to weigh heavy on her heart. So with words, if we're careful with the words, we don't have to wonder, why did I say that? You ever wish that you had a fishing rod that you could have thrown and caught that word you said and just snagged it back and reeled it in and put it in your pocket? But once they're out, they're out. And today with the internet, here I am using something that I'd have thought would have come from an optometrist, an iPad. But no, it didn't. It's a technical thing, you know. I'm from South Georgia. I got rings around my ankles and swamp water. So this kind of thing for me is large. So, but you try to reel in, why did I say that? So it's important what we say. One more scripture. Words satisfy the mind as much as fruit does the stomach. Words satisfy the mind as much as fruit does the stomach. Good talk is as gratifying as a good harvest. Oh, we all love a good harvest. Words kill. Words give life. They're either poison or fruit. This is Proverbs 18, 20, and 21 in the Message Bible. Words kill. Words give life. They're either poison or fruit. And it says, you choose. Only we can choose our words. Our words are important. So please rise with me and let's pray. Oh Lord, today, what a great day it is. You've given us just a great day of weather even today. But we come to celebrate the goodness of life, the goodness that, God, each one of these people, these representatives, whether they're honored guests here today or whether they're the men and women that every day feel the pressure and feel the load of government. And I thank you, Father, that at home, that when they get the phone calls, at home, when somebody meets them on the street, when somebody may be belligerent to them, when somebody may be facing them and them wanting to give them a word that may not be too edifying, I just pray, Father, that their words will be, as the Bible says, as they were with grace, seasoned with salt. And I just thank you for this wonderful, honorable group of people that you're the one who lifts people up in office, and you're the one who appoints people to office, Lord. So I thank you. I pray over them. I pray over their families. Pray over all of the government of our state. We're so thankful. I'm so thankful to be a Georgia. Georgia is always on my mind, Lord. You know it is. I love Georgia. I thank you for the roots we have. I thank you for the hand of God being upon our state, being upon these men and women as they make decisions, as they honor God, as they honor country, as they honor state, as they honor family, as they honor themselves and their friends. In Jesus' name, amen.
Yeah, we can always restock it. Hey, looky, looky. Yeah, how you doing? Good to see you. Well. Life has been good, business is good, we're trying to get in and out of this thing. We will, I promise.
You have 842 handy.
Wednesday. Nobody else took me up on it except, the good clerk over here. Nobody's more dapper than you, I can tell. Hey, Jack.
And the resolution. That's weird. It's on that list right here.
Let me have the Senate's attention for a moment. It really is an honor to have a former senator with us always, and we have former Ed Zipper that's with us today from Chatham County. Good to have you with us. Thank you. Secretary will read a resolution as we honor some very special guests.
Senate Resolution 802 by Senator Wilkinson of the 50th. A resolution committing Habersham County and recognizing February 19, 2014 as Habersham County Day at the state capitol and for other purposes. Whereas established in 1818, Habersham County was named for Colonel Joseph Habersham, was originally an area of 713 square miles, and whereas with its present size at 279 square miles and a population approaching 45,000, Habersham provides a diverse culture and is home to Toluca Gorge, the Niagara Falls of the South. And whereas poet Sidney Lanier waxed about the country's southwest border, the county's southwest border, the Chattahoochee River, in the Song of the Chattahoochee, out of the hills of Habersham, down the valleys of Hall. And whereas Habersham is home to 5 historical museums and 2 historic colleges, Piedmont College with doctorate degree programs, and North Georgia Technical College, the first technical college in the state. Now therefore be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body commend Habersham County on its distinguished history and recognize February 19, 2014 as Habersham County Day at the state capitol. That completes your order, Mr. President.
Is there objection to adoption of the resolution? The chair is none, and the resolution is adopted. We are very, very proud of Habersham County and all the wonderful activities and things in which goes on in that wonderful community. Most importantly, a senator that represents it. It is my honor now to recognize the distinguished senator from the 50th as we declare today Habersham County Day.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, it is an honor for me to have the opportunity to stand here before you and to represent Habersham County. It is Habersham County Day at the Capitol, and I know there are a number of Habersham County residents in the gallery with us this morning, so I'd like for all of you to stand so that we can recognize you. Thank you. That is a good-looking group. I was going to plug the barbecue sauce, but I think the senator from the 53rd has already done that. But we are fortunate today on your desk you have Hog Wild Barbecue sauce from Hog Wild Barbecue in Clarksville, Georgia. Jeremy Patrick is the proprietor there, and hog is spelled just like dog, except with a H, H-A-W-G. But as all of you know who have traveled throughout Georgia, Habersham County is a beautiful county. You heard the resolution, the Sequoia River. I think they filmed A River Runs Through It on the Sequoia River. but it's beautiful. Another thing I'd like to call your attention to, when you think about the great system of technical colleges that we have in our state, the first technical college and the oldest and the best is located in Habersham County, North Georgia Technical College. So with that said, I'm going to recognize the people that I have here with me. David Foster, who is chairman of the Governmental Affairs Committee with the Habersham Chamber of Commerce. His dad, John Foster, served with many of you here in the state Senate. The president of the Habersham County Chamber of Commerce, Dr. Judy Taylor. And then I'm going to present this proclamation to the chairman of the Chamber of Commerce, Wade Rhodes, and give him an opportunity to make some comments on behalf of Habersham County.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it. Thank you. We're honored to be here today, and we are proud to be Georgians, and we are much more prouder to be Habersham Countyans. We're grateful for the hard work that this Senate does, and we are most thankful that Georgia is the best place to do business in this United States. And we are committed to make Habersham one of the best counties in this state to do business. We invite you to come see our beautiful mountains and our rivers and our streams. And we would really like for you to come see why our great governor chose Habersham to be his residence. So come see why it is such a beautiful place. Thank you.
All right. Well done. Oh, no, thank you. Well done. Good to see you. We're going to get a picture together. Secretary will read a resolution.
Senate Resolution 959 by Senator Balfour the Ninth. A resolution recognizing February 19, 2014 as State Restaurant Day at the State Capitol and commending the restaurant industry of Georgia and for other purposes. Whereas the restaurant industry plays a vital role in Georgia's economic prosperity and the quality of life for all Georgians, and whereas Georgia's restaurant industry comprises nearly 16,500 food and drink establishments and generates more than $16 billion annually, and nearly 406,000 jobs statewide. And whereas 50% of all adults in Georgia have worked in the restaurant industry, thereby gaining job skills that serve as a launching point for careers. Now therefore be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body recognize the dedication of the restaurant industry, applaud its service as critical to the economic vitality of the state of Georgia, and recognize February 19, 2014 as State Restaurant Day at the State Capitol. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Is there objection to adoption of the resolution? The chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. We're very, very proud of the Restaurant Association in Georgia, and no one knows it better than the senator from the 9th, and it's my great honor to recognize him, speak to the resolution, and recognize our special Georgians.
Thank you, Governor. Appreciate this opportunity to recognize Restaurant Day at the Capitol, and also encourage you that tonight there's a reception at the depot from 5:30 to 7, and we hope you can come to that reception as well. Restaurants are very important to the state and for the economy of the state, and We appreciate all they do. So thank you very much. Just say thank you.
Karen Bremer, the Executive Director of the Georgia Restaurant Association, and we proudly thank you for always considering small businesses in your business decisions, as most restaurants in Georgia are small business. Thank you very much.
I know the senator from the 36 was looking to be a part of that, and I didn't see her, but we recognize her the same. Have another special group we would like to recognize at this time.
Senate Resolution 830 by Senator Mullis of the 53rd. A resolution recognizing and commending the Lady Trojan softball team of Gordon Lee High School for winning the 2013 Class A state championship and for other purposes. Whereas the Lady Trojans defeated the Georgia Military 2-1 after starting the day with a 7-0 win over Seminole County, then forced a decisive game by beating GMC 3-1 in the first game of the championship round. And whereas the championship team's members are Mary Kate Pritchett, Tiffany Holland, Addie Taylor, Avery Weldon, Jordan Hamill, Bailey Miller, Megan Walensky, Kennedy Harris, Sarah Holcomb, Carson Gazaway, Reagan Brown, Melissa Duran, Cortland Middleton, Megan O'Toole, Emily Armour, Ashley McDonald, Shay Wooten, Tori McElhaney, Ansley Underwood, Alyssa Coates, and Madison Collier, led by head coach Dana Mull and assistant coaches Norma Nelson and Kevin McElhaney. Now therefore be resolved by the Senate that the members of this body congratulate the Lady Trojan softball team of Gordon Lee High School for winning their 4th consecutive Class A state championship title, extend sincere best wishes for future success. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Is there objection to adoption of the resolution? Chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. It's my honor now to call upon the distinguished Rules Chairman, the Senator from the 53rd, to recognize once again these wonderful state champions.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the Senate, I have the honor of letting you know that Northwest Georgia is ladies softball. The senator from the 54th brought the Class 4 state champs earlier, but this is Class A. For 4 years in a row, state champs from Gordon Lee High School. If you would help me honor them, let me give you the names of our seniors and their coaches. Coach Dana Mull, Coach Kevin McElhaney, Coach Norma Nelson, seniors Sarah Holcomb, Tori McElhaney, Jordan Hamill, Ashley Underwood, Ashley McDonald, and the rest of the ladies Trojans. If y'all stand and let us give you a hand. Single A state champs 4 years in a row. Yeah, we're through. We're not listening. All right, let's do a picture. All right. Thank you. Yeah, save your soul from having to speak. Good job, ladies.
Yeah. Are there any unanimous consents? Does any senator wish to rise on a point of personal privilege? Chair recognizes Senator from 35th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senators, we all love our children, and I think it was John F. Kennedy who said that in this diverse world that we live in with all our differences, and I'm paraphrasing, he said there's one common denominator that we all have, and that we all love our children and we cherish our children. Today, I'm inviting you to join the Village to Save the Children rally, and it will be at 12:30 today. on the south wing of the Capitol, right on the second floor. And we are working very, very hard to help save our children. And I know that many of you love the children and want to do the same. So I ask that you come and listen to some of the foster kids who will be there, who have been in the system, and listen to them and foster parents who have something to say. So thank you very much. I hope that you will come. And Mr. President, I yield the well.
Hey, Calvin, how are you? We're going to get to honor you over here, so hold me down, yeah? Are you kidding? No, who? Anybody else? Chair recognizes Senator from the 45th on a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President. Is the microphone on? Something wrong? Okay. Thank you, Mr. President, members of the Senate. It's a great, beautiful morning in the state of Georgia. On your desk, senators, you should have this flyer, and it's from the Department of Public Health about the Shape Up program. As you know, the Shape Up program is presented by Public Health and Commissioner Brenda Fitzgerald. 41% of Georgia's youth fall outside the healthy fitness zone. For body mass index, Georgia currently ranks 17th in the nation for childhood obesity. Power Up, which is a part of the Shape Up program for 30, is a statewide initiative through the Georgia Shape that allows schools to add 30 minutes of physical activity to their day without taking away from academic time in a way that fits their school needs. It's very appropriate today that we have the Georgia Association of Nutrition and Dietitians here at the state capitol. Also, I would like to bring to your attention the Healthy Weight Commitment Foundation. This foundation brings together retailers, food and beverage manufacturers, restaurants, sporting goods and insurance companies, trade associations and NGOs, and professional sports organizations. They all support the Shape Up program. There's 16. If you go to the grocery store and you look at some of the food manufacturers and the beverage industry, 16 of the nation's leading food and beverage companies, including our own Coca-Cola and Pepsi-Cola, pledged to remove 1 trillion calories from the marketplace by 2012. We salute these industries. We salute the Department of Public Health, Commissioner Brenda Fitzgerald, and the General Assembly joins in helping them with the Shape Up program. Thank you very much.
The chamber's just a little bit on the noisy side. I'm going to ask you to quieten it down a little, please. Chair recognizes Senator 34th on a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the Senate. I was pleasantly surprised to get this moving. This is awesome. As we all know, this month, even though we've already had Go Red, this month is Go Red for women. And the healthier we are, the better we are. I just came by to let you know, even though this is new for Georgia, the First Lady of this nation had that Move Your Body campaign going for several years now. And as much as we can do to make sure we keep moving our bodies, the better off we all are. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the well.
Would like to recognize another great former senator from Habersham County and a dear friend to me, former Senator John Foster, who's with us here. Make a warm welcome for Senator John Foster. Chair of the Education Committee for many, many years and does a great job. Senator from the 35th. Let's go. Senator. The Secretary will read a resolution as we honor special guest.
Senate Resolution 842 by Senator James of the 35th and others. A resolution commending Representative Calvin Smyer for his induction into the International Civil Rights Walk of Fame and for other purposes. Whereas on Friday, January 24, 2014, Representative Calvin Smyer will be added to the International Civil Rights Walk of Fame during the 10th Annual Trumpet Awards at the Martin Luther King Jr. National Historic Site. And whereas the International Civil Rights Walk of Fame was created in 2004 to give recognition to the foot soldiers of justice who sacrificed and struggled to make equality a reality for all, Ms. Zernona Clayton, founder and executive producer of the Trumpet Awards, states, "This Walk of Fame tells a phenomenal story about the legacy of this nation. It is a permanent testimony to those who have dedicated themselves to progress of our people and to this nation." And whereas Representative Smyer was elected at the age of 27, and he is now a 40-year legislative veteran, Dean of the House, and serves on the most important panels of the House, Appropriations, Rules, and Higher Education. And whereas Representative Smyer has paved the way for civil rights in his community and abroad, and as a distinguished legislative record while serving as floor leader, he authored the legislation making Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday a state holiday and the legislation creating the Georgia Dome, home of the Atlanta Falcons. And he was also instrumental in passing the Hope Constitutional Amendment and was a co-sponsor of the Hope Scholarship Program and the historic legislation creating a new Georgia state flag. And whereas when inducted into the Walk of Fame, Representative Smyer will join one of the most prestigious lists of honorees in the nation, including former United States Presidents Lyndon B. Johnson, Jimmy Carter, and Bill Clinton, civil rights era heroes Reverend David Abernathy, Sr., Medgar Evers, and Justice Thurgood Marshall, and many others. Now therefore be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body recognize the many contributions of civil rights progress advanced by Representative Calvin Smyer and commend him for being inducted into the International Civil Rights Walk of Fame. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Is there objection to adoption of the resolution on the retirement of Calvin Smyer?
No retirement.
I just wanted to make sure folks were paying attention, so scratch the last part. Is there objection to adoption of the resolution? Without objection, the resolution is adopted. It's my honor now to call upon the distinguished senator from the 35th who's breaking a rule as we recognize this representative from the House.
Wow. Senators, I am so honored today to present one of our very own who is leadership extraordinaire. I've been asked what constitutes a great leader. Is it one with a stern demeanor or a soft, calm, but strong character? Is it the loud, boisterous bully, or is it the strong, eloquent, quiet gentleman? Well, today it could be all, because whether you're tall, short, happy, sad, whatever, you can have leadership abilities. Well, this person has great leadership abilities. You see, he is not only a great public servant with great integrity, businessman, diplomat, a rights advocate, but he's shown his leadership throughout the 40 years that he has served in the legislature. Yes, he came at a very early age. In fact, I was working for Leroy Johnson, and Julian Bond, who speaks highly of him even today. And even Shirley Chisholm, who I worked for 11 years, knew this great young leader and said he was a leader on the move. You see, it's none other than our very own Representative Calvin Smiley. He was inducted into the International Civil Rights Walk of Fame. He's been our Georgia Legislative Black Caucus president. He's been the national president of the National Black Caucus of State Legislators and travel all over this country showing this great leadership. And we have two people who know him even better than I who would like to say a few words before we present this honor and this resolution to him. So first of all, I'd like to call on Senator Ed Harbison from Columbus.
Thank you. He's whispering in my ear, be nice to me. It gives me a great deal of pleasure to talk about my good friend Calvin Smiley. And you can read a lot of things about Calvin in the various publications, in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Back home, you can read about it in the Columbus Ledger-Inquirer about all of the things that he's done. But one of the things that I think he's done that escape our attention is his attention to detail and his dedication to the proposition that I am a public servant. Calvin is indeed the epitome of a public servant. Even if he has 10 or 12 things to do in a week, he will get to 11, and then he'll try to get to the 12th one by midnight that night. He really, really believes in being a public servant, whether it's at the national level, he's made his mark, whether it is at the local level. I will never forget one time when I was trying to access the presidential contingent. They were there, and they had security guards there, and of course they stopped me because I didn't have the proper credentials. But of course they knew Calvin Smiley, and he walked up and said, "That's my senator, let him in, he's all right." So I got the approval to move in. But in a serious note, Calvin Smiley always talk about if you see a fence post, a turtle on a fence post, he didn't get there by himself. He didn't get there by himself, but Calvin rephrased that to say, I built my own elevator by public servants. He really is a great public servant. We love him in Columbus, Georgia. He's dedicated to the proposition that everybody can be great because everybody can serve. And serve he has done. So I commend my good friend Calvin Smiley and say Godspeed, God bless you, and continue to do your great work.
And our whip,
Absolutely.
Senator Ford.
I think it's important to put Calvin Smiley in the context of the last 40 or 50 years when Dr. King, during the difficult and enlightening days of the civil rights movement, led the movement for the African American vote. He envisioned people like Calvin Smiley. Calvin Smiley is the very embodiment of the struggle for civil rights over the last 50 years. Dr. King thought that we would get the vote, but not only get the vote for anybody, but to vote for people who represented this country in an admirable and just way. That is Calvin Smiley. He embodies so much of what is good about not only Georgia, but what this country is about. We are glad to have him with us. We will not see the like of him soon. So God bless Calvin Smiley for everything he's done for everybody in this state. Thank you so much.
It is my great honor to present to you Resolution 842 to Calvin Smiley, my friend. Thank you. My leader. Thank you. Hey! Woo! Old change. My leader.
Yeah.
To the Lieutenant Governor and members of the Senate, and I was sitting in my seat, and a lady came to get me and said, "You need to come to the Senate to be honored." And I've been here 40 years, and I've never seen anybody go to the house and be honored, and I'm deeply moved. I have the utmost respect for this body. I came here in 1974, and I never dreamed that I was serving the positions that I have served in. And my mother taught me something that I always remember. It was a quotation by Winston Churchill, who stated that you make your living by what you get, but you make your life by what you give. And I've tried to live my life by giving. And I never thought that I would ever see this kind of a situation. I just did what I did every day, just doing what I do. And I don't know if you've been in the right place at the right time. I don't know what the formula has been, but giving has been the crux of it to me, no matter who you are, what station in life. And so I'm floored. I'm deeply honored. And it's been 40 years of service. I'm almost there. I'm almost there. I'm almost there. But this is a distinguished body. I have so many friends that are in this body sitting. I'm looking at you now. You've been so good to me on both sides of the aisle. Both sides of the aisle, because I have worked both sides of the aisle in my 40 years as chair of the Rules Committee, as member of the Budget Conferees, chair of Higher Ed, chair of the Democratic Caucus, chair of the Democratic Party. And I believe that life is a two-way street and not a one-way alley. So with that in mind, it's always that type of situation that the bottom line is what we do for the Georgians that we represent, and that's it. So Godspeed. This is a great honor. This is a great institution. For together, the House and Senate, we make up what I consider the formula for quality of life in Georgia. And if there's anything I can do, any senator in this body, don't ever hesitate to call me, because I look out here and I have some dear friends, dear Republicans and Democrats, who have been just mighty good to me, and I'm appreciative. And to Senator Harbison, my senator, thank you for your kind words. We share a lot of moments together, and people always tell me, why you never ran for the Senate? And after my train started going, I said, I'm going too fast to jump off. And to Senator Ford, thank you for your kind words. And I just want to mention one other person, to Senator James, thank you for your long-standing friendship. And to Representative Lucas, I look at my 1975 composite that's on my wall over in OB, and there are only two people here that are still left on it, and it's myself and David Lucas. And now he's over here coming to y'all ear every day like he used to come to mine. And when Lucas comes to you, just bend over and get ready to listen. But to Senator Lucas, thank you for your friendship and over the years. And to all of my House colleagues that came over when they found out about it, thank you. And I appreciate you all. I love you. And Governor Cagle, thank you for all your friendship and kindness over the years. This is an extraordinary honor, and I am just overwhelmed. Thank y'all for your kindness. Thank you.
Everybody's invited to come and take a picture if you like, or shake his hand. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you so much.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 14th for point of personal privilege. Please give the Senator your attention.
Thank you, Mr. President. I may be a little bit out of order when I say this, but I find it a little bit disappointing that in our Senate chambers, we're trying to honor someone here, and our secretary looks up at the gallery and has to keep reminding people to be quiet. We got a great man right here we're trying to honor, and we'd appreciate it on a Senate floor if when that person's being honored, we can remain quiet. That being said, yesterday, I had the honor of bringing the pastor of the day, Jeremy Morton. Senators, on your desk, he presented you with a 52-week devotion that he and a great man, Johnny Hunt from First Baptist Woodstock, authored. Jeremy took the time to write in each one of you a short note, and I just wanted to say, you keep Jeremy Morton not only in your prayers, but you be looking for him in the headlines, because as Johnny Hunt sunsets his career up in Northwest Georgia, you just might see Jeremy Morton taking his place. Thank you, Senators.
Recognize the senator from the 42nd for the Doctor of the Day.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's my honor to introduce Dr. Richard Lassiter, our Doctor of the Day. He is an Atlanta native and grew up in Tucker, Georgia. He specializes in emergency medicine at the DeKalb Medical Hospital. He completed his undergraduate degree at Presbyterian College in South Carolina, received his medical degree and conducted his residency at the Medical College of Georgia. He is a member of the Georgia College of Emergency Physicians and the American College of Emergency Physicians. He lives around the corner from me, which means he lives in a good part of town. And he enjoys restoring his home and spending time with his 2 children. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks. Good to see you.
All right, let's catch you together.
Have another special Chair recognizes Senator 41st. What purpose you rise?
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Chairman.
State your inquiry.
He did say Tucker, Georgia, didn't he?
I'm sorry?
The doctor did say from Tucker, Georgia, correct?
Tucker, Georgia. There's something significant about Tucker, Georgia, and all of DeKalb. We love all of DeKalb. Secretary will read a resolution.
Senate Resolution 880 by Senator Jeffries of the 17th and others. A resolution recognizing family and consumer sciences and for other purposes. Whereas family and consumer sciences is a comprehensive body of research, knowledge, and skills, and helps people make informed decisions about their well-being, relationships, and resources to achieve their optimal quality of life. And whereas national, state, and local policymakers, education administrators, and the public need an understanding of the scope of FCS and its direct relevance to serious societal concern today, such as obesity, food safety, financial literacy, the complexities of family life, and the role of parents, caregivers, and other adults in preparing children for school readiness. Now therefore be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body recognize the affiliates, communities, and other entities within the family and consumer sciences and support and facilitate the development and implementation of national, state, and local intervention strategies to sustain family and consumer sciences in the current economic and education environment. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Is there objection to adoption of the resolution? The chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. Call upon the distinguished senator from the 17th to recognize our special Georgians.
Thank you, Mr. President. It is a privilege today to recognize the family and consumer science. Up in the gallery, we have some of the students and staff. If we could get y'all to stand so we could recognize y'all. Standing behind me is Susan Howington from Henry County. She is the Family and Consumer Science Agent for the Henry County Extension Office. I also have Dr. Don Bauer, who's Professor and Human Development Specialist at UGA. And we also have Dean Linda Fox, who is the Dean of the College of Family and Consumer Sciences at UGA.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor and members of the Senate, for recognizing the importance and contributions of family and consumer sciences professionals to a healthy and vibrant Georgian. We have today a Family and Consumer Sciences focus for the entire day here at the General Assembly with students in both the House and the Senate chambers, and we appreciate your support of the resolution. We have the Family and Consumer Sciences Extension professionals as well as teachers, because the Family and Consumer Sciences that supports your communities are in many aspects and many vocations. We appreciate your support today and are pleased to have you. Thank you.
Here, well done. Thank you so much. Good to see you. Let's pose for a picture down on the steps there. Chair recognizes Senator from the 40th on a point of personal privilege. Please give Senator your attention.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, I don't do points of personal privilege very often, so I'm going to ask your attention because I think this is an important point to bring up. I knew when I got up yesterday my day wasn't going to be the best. I went to a funeral for a good friend of 34 years, and for the first time in my life I had to speak at the funeral. I wasn't maybe totally here yesterday, and the gentleman from the 10th asked some questions on the bill we passed. And I want to cover that because I think it's important. He asked me about why I brought the bill, and basically, I've lived in DeKalb County for over 30 years, and in the Senate, I'm the sole Republican, and I served in the House where there was 2 Republicans at the time. So I feel I represent just not my district, but also my particular political party. And the reason I brought the bill was the fact that I think it made Republicans relevant in the election of our CEO. Now, I'm not asking you to agree with that, but that's the reason for the bill, and I owed you that explanation, Senator. For that, I apologize. I thought from the prior year you might have known that, but I do apologize. The other thing, you brought up the subject of Senator Jim Tysinger. And I've known Jim for over 20 years. Attended his funeral, his interment in Arlington National Cemetery. I participate in the Tysinger Breakfast Forum, and you asked about what he would have thought of this particular bill. Well, the Tysinger Breakfast Forum is a nonpartisan organization. We recently just had our Lincoln Day dinner, which is a fundraiser, and the people that were there were pretty well Republicans and Democrats, the CEO of our county, some of the commissioners, our sheriff, et cetera. So I hope that answers some of your questions. Now, I'd like to cover another point, and I'm deadly serious about this point, very serious about this point. And I direct this to the minority leader. For 2 years, I brought this bill. 2 years, this bill was termed as racial. I've worked in DeKalb County for the last 16 years as an elected official. When local issues came up that I could support, we did things on a bipartisan basis. When I was wrong on a particular issue, I would actually apologize to the minority leader in one particular case. I want to remind you something you might not know, Senator. I actually have a plaque in my office in Buckhead. It was ironic that Mr. Smyrie was here today to be honored, and I'm so glad he was honored. Because that plaque happens to be from the DeKalb NAACP. Because a number of years ago, I brought the first bill, yes, as a Republican, to change the Georgia flag. There are not many Republicans with plaques from the NAACP. And the reason I bring this up, when you take this well, and I understand passion, and I was in the minority, but this president teaches the minority a lot better than when I served under Speaker Murphy, believe me. And all I would say is, as you go forward and you're passionate in your arguments, don't use the race card. It's demeaning to you, and it's demeaning to this body. I consider the matter closed, and Mr. President, I yield the well.
Chair recognizes Senator from 38th on a point of personal privilege.
Good morning, colleagues. I just wanted to share some information that I shared a couple of years ago because we honored a group home, one that I've had the pleasure of working with, known as Still Pitts. It's a group home that takes care of foster children. It's located in Southwest Atlanta. It is celebrating 125 years this year. As a result of the Kenny A. Court decree, the group home has been reduced from where we have spaces for 100 children. We now care for 15. I say this because I have been saying for the last 4 or 5 years or longer that we need to have other options for our children. Still Pitts, I want to relate one story. Our previous executive director, Olivette Allison, was a product of Still Pitts. She went there when she was the age of 12. She finished high school. She finished college. She got a master's. And she came back and worked for about 40 years at Still Pitts, first as a social worker and then as their executive director. We talked about outcomes yesterday. We talk about success. A lot of these group homes, including and especially Still Pitts, have had wonderful outcomes with the children that they've had in their care. There are many children that have gone through Still Pitts who have become contributing members of society, have a good life because all of the care that they received in this group home. So I just wanted to share that with you, and I know that the senator from the 45th mentioned that one of the group homes that was doing really well in Gwinnett closed. That was my reason and passion for being involved. I was a member of the working group, little known fact. We met for 8 weeks, starting in November through the first week of session. That was the outgrowth of that, became Bill 350. As a result, I did want to share with you something that we didn't talk a lot about yesterday, but if you look at the bill, it says that this article shall become effective only if the Administration for Children and Families of the United States Department of Health and Human Services approves a federal Title 4E waiver demonstration. If they approve it. So if they don't approve it, we still have the issue that we were dealing with yesterday. Hopefully they will approve it, and we will move on with the bill that we had yesterday. But if they don't approve it, then we still have a problem to solve. As a result of that, and thinking about the fact that it may not be approved, I put in a resolution yesterday. It's resolution number 973 that would create a Child Protective Services Study Committee. So I hope when it comes to the floor, and makes it through committee and comes to the floor, that you will favorably look on that as a possible solution to help us with our problem in case our solution yesterday doesn't work. I thank you.
Chair recognizes Senator from 36 on a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senators, today we have passed by unanimous consent Senate Resolution 960, and I want to just pause for a moment to recognize Dr. Debbie Cannon, who's been awarded Georgia's Distinguished Service Award. She heads up the School of Hospitality at Georgia State University. She is a champion in her field and has professionally contributed so much to our economy. She's here today on the occasion of the Georgia Restaurant Association Day. So our evening is going to have a centerpiece event where Dr. Cannon will be recognized as well, but that is the Taste of Georgia event from 5:30 to 7:30 tonight at the Depot, with restaurants from across our great state bringing us their finest. She has made a personal contribution to our state's economy through her leadership at the School of Hospitality. They have expanded to the Hospitality Learning Center and the Culinary Learning Center inside the Georgia World Congress Center, has established international exchange programs in China and Europe, and twice received the top 20 ranking in hospitality programs in the United States. That's the school at Georgia State that Dr. Cannon heads, the School of Hospitality, that's grown to have more than 500 slots for students. So as I like to say, when you go into a fine restaurant or when you check into a wonderful hotel, those are students who are graduates of the hospitality. They've developed their skills in the hospitality profession. Dr. Debbie Cannon has been one of the leaders in that field and continues to bring her talents to the stage. And we should remember, as we applaud and congratulate her on her distinguished professional career, that the restaurant industry, the hospitality industry, is the second largest sector of our economy. So it's business for Georgia, business for Atlanta, good business, and a future for students in the School of Hospitality. Join me in recognizing, please, today, Dr. Debbie Cannon for her Georgia Distinguished Service Award and her lifelong professional contributions to our students and our economy. And Dr. Cannon will be at the depot this evening, joined by Karen Brimmer, who is the head of the Georgia Restaurant Association. We're so pleased to have her here with us today. And so join us tonight at the depot for a Taste Delight, sampling again Georgia's best restaurants from around the state who come to provide us their finest culinary skills. Thank you again, Dr. Cannon.
Chair recognizes the Senator on the 15th on a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise at this occasion to commemorate our Black History person for the month of February. And the person I choose today was a God-fearing woman. On one occasion, she was literally down to her last 50 cents and no food in the house, so the only thing that she would fit her budget with and fill the stomachs of her children was a gallon of buttermilk from the curb market. The purchase would provide the family with 1/2 of the ingredients needed to whip up a meal, milk and bread, as it were. Off to the curb market she went with a princely sum of 50 cents to get that buttermilk. The mission, however, was only half successful. On the way back from the market, the jar slipped from her hand onto the curb concrete and broke into 100 pieces. For a moment, the mother stared in disbelief at the shattered glass and wasted milk, now running in little rivers over the concrete sidewalk and rushing to be greedily absorbed by the dark, porous Alabama dirt. It was just too much for the woman to bear. Overwhelmed by the incredible string of bad luck, she broke down and cried in disgust and self-pity at the unkind hand dealt her by fate. It was a stunning moment of real pain that cut deeply into her psyche like shards of razor wire, a blow that was meant to defeat her spirit. But slowly, she regained her spiritual equilibrium, fortified by the strength and legacy of generations past who had endured many hardships and gone before her. She picked up her self-esteem off the ground and disconnected that from the fate of the broken jar, dusted off her resolve, and began the walk back home without that gallon of buttermilk, but with a stronger resolve to meet life head on, not broken, but confident by the whole armor of God. That woman went home where she divided up the delicious cornbread, whipped up some gravy, added some syrup to the improvised menu, and served dinner. She ate heartily. Their stomachs were full. They didn't have any meat, but Mama showed them how to get butter from a duck. It was that kind of resolve that epitomized the spirit of the women, mostly women, who were the real soldiers of the bus boycott in Montgomery, Alabama, the maids who had to go to work every day. They walked to work in the rain, they walked to work in the cold, they walked when it's hot, and still they walked. They walked when they didn't have adequate shoes. I remember my mother putting cardboard box in her shoes, but she walked to work anyway. It was very important that they succeeded because they had nothing else to lose but the pride instilled by God. These were the true heroes of the bus boycott in Montgomery, Alabama. We get the romanticized version of Rosa Parks, as we should, but the women, so many of them, really made real sacrifices because they didn't have cars. All they had was a resolve of being sick and tired of being sick and tired. So they succeeded beyond all measure. So I commemorate one of those persons today, my mother, Rebecca Parker Griffin, as a civil rights hero for today. Thank you.
Well done, Senator. Chair recognizes the senator from the 41st. 41st. His light's on. I don't see him. Chair recognizes now the senator from 29th. 29th. Point of personal privilege. Please give the senator your attention.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm sure the senator from the 15th will join me. We lost a tremendous human being in Columbus, Georgia last week, February the 10th, David Wilson Caraway. Mr. Caraway passed away on February the 10th. He was 76 years old. He was born in Columbus. He was a lifelong resident of Columbus. He was the owner of his own CPA firm. He was a member of First Baptist Church. He was a 1955 graduate of Columbus High School. He was a 1959 graduate of Auburn University, and I can tell you about Mr. Caraway that he really struggled early in life with a very difficult speech impediment, and a lot of people, I think, would have allowed themselves, particularly given the profession he chose, to kind of go into a shell, but he worked very hard at that. Actually got very involved with Toastmasters in Columbus and became district governor of Toastmasters and a quite accomplished public speaker. He was a huge Auburn football fan and made his way to the national championship game back in January. Was really in excellent health. His passing was quite a surprise. And I just want to express my condolences publicly to his family, his wife of 50 years, Barbara Hackett Caraway, his two daughters, Susan Caraway Strickland and Sharon Caraway Emerson, and his many cousins and other family members. He touched a lot of people in Columbus, Georgia. He was a great man, and he will be missed. Thank you, Mr. President.
The chair recognizes the majority leader. Let me have everybody's attention, as the majority leader has an announcement for the Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to give a couple of seconds, as I know the appropriations chair told me he needed to run in here real quick, so I'm going to give him just a second to come on in for this very important announcement. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, if I can get your attention, please. just a couple of moments, I wanted to come down and talk to you for a few minutes. It's amazing how quiet it can get in here when we all try hard. I had a real important announcement to make. Many of you saw my family down here yesterday, my wife and 3 daughters, my 10-year-old, my 6-year-old, and my 1-year-old, 1 year and 8 days. And my 6-year-old had such a good time down here that she went home and she slaved and she worked all afternoon and all night producing all those Girl Scout cookies in there. So those are for you. Take as many as you want. I would recommend you get in there before the Senator from the 53rd and stock up. And he's all right. That is really a joke because he was in there very early this morning. But so please help yourself. That's very important. And I want y'all to make sure that you enjoy those. I actually brought some notes, which I normally don't do, so hopefully I can stay on task. I have another announcement as well, in addition to the Girl Scout cookies. I've been here 10 years, and I wanted to start off kind of talking about my family, because I've got 2 families, as all of you do too. I've got that family that was here yesterday, that's at home right now, or at school, hopefully at school, and then I've got you guys. And before we get into the craziness, which we know is coming, and our own March Madness, I want to take this opportunity and thank all of you for allowing me to be part of your family for these 10 years. And I know it's going to get stressful, and I know that as we head down this road, Thomas Carlyle talked about pressure. He said, no pressure, no diamond. So I want to remember this family atmosphere right now. We're going to have a whole lot going on. Everybody's paying attention for the most part. And think about what our responsibility is to the people of Georgia. They deserve no less than an awful lot of diamonds as we head down the home stretch here the last 18 days or whatever it may be. I got a phone call talking about this family relationship we have. I got a phone call last week. I was on my way to the Capitol. I missed the call, but I listened to the voicemail, and it was from a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine who I met here, the former senator from the 13th, Judge, the Honorable Joseph Carter. He left me a voicemail. And I talked to him this morning and got his permission to share that, even though it wasn't a conversation, to share that personal message he left on my voicemail. And the voicemail said, good morning, in that Tifton twang that he's got, Judge. He said, good morning. I just wanted to call and remind you that you are not nearly as important as the people down there think you are. And you're nowhere near as important as you think you are. You're still just an idiot. Have a great day. And I laughed harder than you did, because we all need that reminder from time to time. We need to understand why we're here and what is truly important. And for me, what is truly important, many of you saw yesterday, Lieutenant Governor was holding my youngest one while he was wandering around up there doing his thing. And that is what is truly important. We cannot forget why we're here and who we're representing. I've learned in my 10 years that it's always good when you come to the well, it's a good idea to have a point, have a message. Many of you have helped me learn that, Senator. No offense. And so I'm going to try to stay on message here for just a few more moments, and then I'm going to take a break. All of us, and I want to tell you a story. When I got home last night, my 6-year-old, same one that was toiling away on those Girl Scout cookies, my 6-year-old said, Daddy, come upstairs. I want to read you a story. She said, I want to read you a story. I spent a lot of times reading her stories, and now she wanted to read me a story. So we went upstairs and we read, or she read, and it reminded me, sitting there with that little 6-year-old, when I ran the first time, I had a 6-month-old. She's now in 4th grade. And I've got a 10, 6, and as I mentioned, a baby. And my 6-year-old, the middle girl, everybody here has children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, and there's a tradition that we all have, and that is that we write down the milestones of our children. We write down the dates, their first steps, their first words, and what have you. Well, My second daughter was born in the middle of my term, of my service here up to now. And at that time, I was very busy. I was going to a lot of meetings. I was going to a lot of dinners. I was going to spend a lot of time with the folks out in the halls. And I was going to receptions. And she was learning how to talk. And my wife was kind of writing things down. Well, my daughter came up with what I would suggest was her first sentence. And it was just 2 words, and I never wrote it down. That was one thing I never wrote down because I knew I'd never forget it. When I saw her first thing in the morning, when I was leaving for the Capitol, last thing in the evening when I got home from the Capitol, middle of the day if it was a weekend or we weren't in session, or if I went in to see her in the middle of the night to protect her from those monsters under her bed or help her from a bad dream, she said the same thing to me every time. Bye, Daddy. Bye, Daddy. No matter when I saw her. And I realized then, and I'm speaking to some of you young guys, particularly, who have children, don't forget what's important. That was a day when I realized that I could not stop her from saying, bye, Daddy, every time I saw her. That was when I said, you know what? The dinners aren't that important. The Kiwanis Club's just going to have to get on without me. Well, I've got another little one now, and she's 1 year old. A little over 1, as I mentioned. And we're going to make sure that that's not her first sentence. You know, the people of the 16th District and you all have given me an invaluable loan in allowing me to work with you, to represent this state, represent the citizens of this Georgia, represent my district, and I'll forever be indebted. I'm not going to qualify for re-election. I'm announcing my retirement. I'm not resigning anywhere. My parking space is not available, so don't ask. Rita and Yosra are not available right now, so don't ask. That nice desk I've got down there, I saw y'all looking at it recently when you heard these rumors. Just relax for a little while longer. But I wanted to come down here before it got too crazy and just let you know how much I appreciate each and every one of you. You know, we are a family, and just like our other family, we don't get to pick and choose. And, of course, just like my regular family, I love all of you, some of you more than others, of course, you know who you are. But I want to tell you guys, even if you've been here for 20 years, take a look around and take this in and realize what you're doing. Realize that you have been called, you have been chosen. Not just from the people in your district, not just from your spouse or whatever the case may be, but realize what's going on. One of the first sessions I was here, I just took a walk. I walked around on the grounds and just looked at all the statues. There's an inscription on one of them out there that I thought was kind of cool. It says, I may surprise you, but I shall not deceive you. Some guy named Talmadge. I don't know if he actually said it or not. But I really applied it more to you, to my service with you, and that's what I've tried to do. I know I've surprised a lot of you many times, and I may have had a very, very small part, the senator from the 12th. I may have had a very small part in some of you going down to visit the governor when you were freshmen, but I really can't claim all the credit for that nor the blame. But I never want to deceive you. I always want to be honest with you and tell you, even when it's not good news, even when we disagree. And I would recommend that you all do the same thing. Realize what's important. Pay attention to what we're doing down here and why you're here. And get to know each other. This gentleman right here, the senator from the 15th, I had the wonderful opportunity to sit next to him for a full term, 2 years. And he is a fine man. And he took 3 trips as a young man over to a place called Vietnam. Most of you don't know that. You need to thank him for his service, because he can tell you things you wouldn't believe, and he probably won't. But he is a wonderful, wonderful human being, as all of you are. And I want to just say, in closing, thank you again for the opportunity. Thank you, Mr. President, for your service and your friendship and everything you've been doing. Lo, these many years, he chaired the first committee meeting I ever attended, was chaired by this guy. And the senator from the 19th stomped me on my foot because I didn't make a motion to the chairman's second. So I learned very quickly. I believe in the tradition of this place. I believe in the family atmosphere we have here. Do not forget that. And most importantly, do not forget your priorities and what is really important to you. Thank you all, Mr. President. I yield the well.
Well, we have a number of lights that have lit up. There may be some objections to your announcement, Senator. I'm not sure. Chair recognizes Senator from the 54th.
Mr. President.
State your inquiry.
Is it, in fact, possible for a member to object to the sentiments expressed by the majority leader?
There's no question that there will be numerous objections. Chair recognizes the Dean of the Senate, Senator from the 33rd.
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. President.
State your inquiry.
Is it possible, if you ask the Secretary if it's proper to make a minority report, objecting?
Yeah, there he is. Actually, that'd probably be one of the better minority reports I've seen in a while. So, no, we very much appreciate the senator's service, and even though I have not forgiven him for not making that second in my committee when I was the finance chair, he has served with great distinction, and he delivered some very good wisdom and words of counsel and advice for all of us. But the beauty that came through his heart, I think, says the most, and that is you don't forget where you came from. You value your family. You value your friendships. And this journey is one that gives you ample opportunities to make life better for others. And you have certainly done that for us, Senator, and we appreciate that very, very much. Does any other senator wish to rise on a point of personal privilege? We are going to move on to the general calendar. I'm sorry? Huh? You do? There is a consent calendar of privilege resolutions. Is there objection? Without objection, the consent calendar of privilege resolutions are therefore adopted. Now, Mr. Secretary, are there any objections filed on any of the bills on the local consent calendar?
Mr. President, there have been no objections filed in the Secretary's office.
Is there objection to agreeing to the report on the local and state governmental operations which fail to pass to the bills on the local consent calendar? Chair is none. Local consent calendar is therefore ordered. All those in favor vote aye. Those opposed no. Secretary, unlock the machine. Voting on the local consent calendar. On the local consent calendar, the yeas are 51 and the nays are 0, and these bills have received requisite constitutional majority, is therefore adopted. Secretary will read a resolution for a very special recognition.
Senate Resolution 927 by Senator Carter I and Jackson II. A resolution honoring Mr. Jim Chavers and for other purposes. Whereas the state of Georgia honors one of its most distinguished citizens, Mr. Jim Chavers, the remaining living member of the 4th Marine Division that fought in World War II's infamous Battle of Iwo Jima, and whereas Mr. Chavers served as a guardian of this nation's freedom and liberty with the United States Marine Corps, valiantly and courageously protecting his fellow Americans during World War II. And whereas Mr. Chavers addressed a standing room-only crowd and spoke about his life and career, displaying memorabilia from the battlefield that he is donating to the World War II Museum in New Orleans, Louisiana. And whereas attendees attentively listened to Mr. Chavers as he detailed his experiences on Iwo Jima, including witnessing the now iconic raising of the American flag on Mount Suribachi. And whereas a detachment of United States Marines from Parris Island, South Carolina, United States Representative Jack Kingston, National Fraternal Order of Police, President Chuck Canterbury, and Georgia FOP President Carrollton Stallings joined Frank W. Mobley, Lodge No. 7 President Almond Giles, and fellow Lodge members to pay homage to Mr. Chavers for his dedicated and selfless service. Now therefore be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body join in honoring Mr. Jim Chavers for his selfless, dedicated, and patriotic service to the state of Georgia and to the United States of America. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Is there objection to adoption of the resolution? Chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. Always a great honor to have individuals that have served our country, but particularly those of World War II. And we have a real hero in our midst today, and it's always a great honor for the Senate to pause and to pay tribute to those that have given so much of their time. And if you've never been able to sit down and visit personally with a World War II veteran, it is worth the visit. So it's a great honor to recognize a distinguished citizen of our great state, and to do so I call upon the senator from the 1st.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senators, every day that we're in session, we invite people up here, and it's very special to them, and it's very special to us. And it's an honor for them, and quite often it's an honor for us. Today is one of those times when it is an honor for us to bring someone very special before us. You know, Jim Chavers, he is one of the most distinguished citizens in our state. He is the only remaining living member of the 4th Marine Division that fought in World War II's infamous Iwo Jima. 69 years ago today, he set forth on that island, set foot on that island. We are honored to have him today. If I could borrow some words from the senator from the 24th, he often says, "Ladies and gentlemen, we are in the presence of a great man, and today we are."
I've been honored so much today, it's overwhelming me. But to address this House and the Senate of Georgia is very nice and very important to me. And I'll tell all my friends and all when I get home what they did, how they honored me. Thank you very much.
Also, Senators, if you will, today is a Fraternal Order of Police Day at the Capitol, and we have a number of those people here with us in the gallery. If you're from the Fraternal Order of Police, will you please stand so we can recognize you? Thank you, and thank you for your service.
The Secretary will read Senate Bill 342.
Senate Bill 342 by Senator Burke of the 11th and others. A bill to be entitled Act amending Code Section 241221 of the OCGA relating to disclosures of AIDS confidential information so as to provide for the disclosure of a person's HIV status to certain healthcare providers and for other purposes. The Senate Committee on Health and Human Services recommends this bill to pass. So respectfully submitted, Senator Rogers, the 45th District Chairman. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a difficult time getting up at this time with what's gone before me today that's much more important. I've had several people to ask me, aren't you nervous going to the well? You're just a freshman. And some of the things we've gone through this morning and recognizing folks here today remind me that this really isn't that scary. Let me tell you a few things that are scary. When I know I've got to go into an examination room and tell a 35-year-old she's got metastatic breast cancer, that's scary. Telling someone who's been trying to get pregnant for years, finally got pregnant, and I do an ultrasound and there's no heartbeat, telling that person that that baby is gone, that's scary. Folks, this isn't scary. And I think that the moments we've had today, this morning, honoring those people, recognizing the senator of the 16th for his great work, the representative from Columbus for his great work, those things are what's important. But I do rise today to ask you to support Senate Bill 342. And in short, this is a bill that will save the lives, I think, of thousands of Georgians. The Department of Public Health brought this bill to me. It allows them to notify a primary care physician of the fact that an HIV-positive patient is not receiving care. It's from provider to provider. It follows all HIPAA regulations, federal privacy regulations. It passed unanimously out of the Health Committee. I would appreciate your support for this bill, and I'll be glad to answer questions. If not, I'll yield the well.
No questions. No questions, Senator. Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the bill? Is there objection agree in the Porter Committee, which is favorable to pass of the bill? The chair is none. The Porter Committee is agreed to. Shall the main question be now put, or are there any objections? The chair is none. The main question is ordered. Shall this bill now pass? Question on the pass of the bill. All those in favor of the bill will vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary will unlock the machine. On the pass of the bill, the yeas are 55, the nays are 0, and the OBGYN good senator is being spoiled with unanimous votes. The Secretary will read Senate Resolution 788.
Senate Resolution 78 by Senator Albers of the 56th and others. A resolution authorizing the conveyance of certain state real-owned property located in Appling County, Chatham County, Cobb County, Columbia County, Dade County, Fulton County, Liberty County, Meriwether County, Monroe County, Raven County, Toombs County, Troop County to provide for effective date and for other purposes. The Senate Committee on State Institutions and Property recommends this resolution do pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Senator Albers, the 56th District Chairman. The Senate State Institutions and Property offers the following substitute to SR 788. A resolution authorizing the conveyance of certain state-owned real property located in Appling County, authorizing the conveyance of certain state-owned real property located in Baldwin and Wilkinson counties, authorizing the conveyance of certain state real-owned property located in Chatham County, and for other purposes. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Chair recognizes the distinguished senator from the 56th to present the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senators, I bring before you Senate Resolution 788. This is the annual conveyance bill for the State Property Commission. All these senators that have been affected in these 13 counties have already had communication and meetings with Mr. Smith. I'd like to thank each one of those senators in the State Properties Commission. If there are no questions, I will yield the well.
There are no questions, Senator. Question on the adoption of the committee substitute. Is there objection? Without objection, committee substitute is adopted. Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the bill? Is there objection? Granted, the Report of Committee which favor pass the bill. Chair is none. Report of Committee is agreed to. Shall the main question be now put? Are there any objections? Chair is none. Main question is ordered. Shall this bill now pass? Questions on the pass of the bill before I call for the vote. Chair recognizes Senator from the 33rd.
Inquiry, Mr. President.
State your inquiry.
Is it not true that it's a real pleasure when you're from a county, when you have the department come to you and list all the counties and send you the information so that you understand the conveyances? And that's what happened this time, and we're very grateful. Is that not true?
It's a very good point, Senator. Very good point. All those in favor will vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary will unlock the machine. On the passage of the resolution, the ayes are 55, nays are 0. We're on a roll, this resolution, therefore, is adopted. Secretary will read SR 868.
Senate Resolution 868 by Senator Albers of the 56th and others. A resolution authorizing the granting of non-exclusive easements for construction, operation, and maintenance of facilities, utilities, and ingress and egress in, on, over, under, upon, across, or through property owned by the state of Georgia, the counties of Appling, Barrow, Bibb, Bryan, Fulton, Gordon, Jasper, Lawrence, McIntosh, Monroe, Toombs, and Troop, and for the purposes. The Senate Committee on State Institutions and Property recommends this resolution do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Albers of the 56th District Chairman. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 56th again to present the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is the second of the State Properties Commission annual bills for easements, Senate Resolution 868. It impacts 12 counties. And thank you to the Senator for the 33rd for pointing out the great partnership we have with State Properties Commission and their very proactive efforts to work with the Senate in order to make sure that each senator is adequately represented and understands any changes. This is good for business and good for Georgia, and if there are no questions, I will yield the will.
Seeing any other senator wish to speak for or against the bill, is there objection to the agreeing report of committee which fail pass the bill? Chair is none. Report of committee is agreed to. Shall the main question be now put? Are there any objections? Chair is none. The main question is ordered. Shall this bill now pass? Questions on the pass the bill? All those in favor of the bill vote aye. Those opposed no. Secretary unlock the machine. Senators, please do not forget your pages if you haven't had your pictures yet.
That's fine. That's fine.
On the pass of the bill, the yeas are 52, the nays are 0. This bill, having Series constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Chair recognizes Senator from the 1st for a motion. Special order.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate insist on this amendment to the House Amendment to Senate Bill 134.
Senate Bill 134 by Senator Carter the first and others. A bill to entitle an act to amend Code Section 1613-21 of the OCGA related to definitions relative to controlled substances so as to provide the definition of prescriber and for other purposes. The Senate offers the following amendment. Amend SB 134 by inserting after the semicolon on line 2 the following: to amend Code Section 3112 3.1 of the OCGA relating to vaccination registry so as to authorize the Department of Public Health to enforce the requirements of the registry, to amend Article 2 to Chapter 34 of Title 43 of the OCGA relating to physicians so as to authorize the administration of vaccines by pharmacists or nurses pursuant to vaccine protocol agreements with physicians. That completes order, Mr. President.
Thank you. What's the motion? The senator's moving to insist on the Senate position. Is there objection? Without objection, the Senate has insisted upon its position. That concludes the business of the day. Chair recognizes the Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate stand adjourned until 10 a.m. Thursday, February the 20th.
The senators moved, and the clerk will read the announcements.
Rules will be meeting upon adjournment, 450 cap. Regulated Industries and Utilities, 1 p.m., 307 CLOB. State and Local Governmental Operations, 1 p.m., 310 CLOB. DOT Board Elections, 6th Congressional, 1 p.m. Senate, or 6th Congressional District, 2 p.m. Senate Chamber. Health and Human Services, 2 p.m., 450 cap. Transportation, 2 p.m. in the MES. Appropriations General Government Subcommittee, 2 p.m., 341 cap. Education and Youth Subcommittee on School Choice and Policy, 2 p.m., 307 CLOB. DOT Board Election, 12th Congressional District, 3 p.m. Senate Chamber. Judiciary Non-Civil, 3 p.m., 307 CLOB. Appropriations Education Subcommittee, 3 p.m., 310 CLOB. Appropriations Judicial Subcommittee, 3 p.m., MES 1. Appropriations Public Safety Subcommittee, 3:30 p.m., 341 cap. State Institutions and Property, canceled. Appropriations Insurance Subcommittee, 4 p.m., 450 cap. Appropriations Agricultural Subcommittee will be meeting 8 a.m. tomorrow, 341 cap. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Are there any other announcements? Any other announcements? The majority leader has moved. We stand adjourned until 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. All of those in favor will say aye. All those opposed, no. Oh, and the ayes truly and clearly have it. We stand adjourned.